Hey, and welcome back to our series on Ember Data Serializers. Today we're going to go over the extractRelationship and extractRelationships methods. Now, in order to understand what we're going to be talking about today, you'll need to have watched the last two episodes in the Serializer series. So once you've gone and watched those, we'll get started. So how this episode is going to go is, first, we're going to look at when and where the extractRelationship and extractRelationships methods get called and how they relate to each other. Then we're going to go over a couple of examples of how data can deviate from JSON API in ways that are fixed by these two methods. So let's start by investigating where and when these two methods get called. So we'll place these in here and we'll be logging out whenever they're called. And we'll be doing the same within the books serializer as well. So here we are in the singular quote page, and this is the order that we've visited the extractRelationships and extractRelationship methods. And this is the data that we're processing. So I'll show you how this data is processed, and you'll see it line up with these. So first we get our quote, and it's going to extract all the relationships from this quote. And then it's going to, well, here it is. And then it's going to find that there's only one relationship. And so then it's going to call extractRelationship singular for that. And here it's a bit messy, but you can see it's book and ID 1. And that's getting it from here. Then it'll go to our includeds and it will try to extract relationships from each of these. And there's only one, so it'll do it here. And there's no relationships hash, so it won't call anything else after that. It's done. And this is that third one here. So let's analyze this for something a little bit larger. So this is our /books, and this is indeed a much, much larger data set. So, but this same analysis will hold through. So we have our extractRelationships plural for this first book, and then we have it singular for here. And even though there are 4 quotes, the quotes is only one relationship, and so it only calls the extractRelationship singular once here, and it gives it back an array of 4 items. Then it repeats it for book 2 and 3. Then we get to extracting the relationships plural here for the quotes, and it calls it extractRelationships once for each of these, and once again there are no relationships that we're including on this, so it doesn't call anything else after that. One thing that's interesting to note is that when we're calling the extractRelationship, here we're getting the quotes relationship, but we're calling extractRelationship on book. So that's important to know where to put it when you're trying to affect things. So now that we've seen where they're called, let's look at some of the problems that we can solve using them. So first up, so right now our relationship, it's shown as book. But someone messed with our data, and now it's not a book that has a quote, it's a perpetrator of bad think. So we got to roll with the punches and figure out how to get this in. So as you can see, this is where the book information is supposed to be, but it's not showing up. So we'll solve this in the extractRelationships method in the quote. So we can see here that the resource hash given to us here has relationships, and it has the relationship of perpetrator. Now we can use, knowing that, we can use something similar to how we changed the attributes up here. So what we'll do is we'll take our resource hash and the relationships, and then we'll assign it to book. And what will we assign to book? Well, we'll assign the thing that is currently stored under perpetrator. So if we remove the debugger and reload, we'll see that it's working. And of course, it's good etiquette to delete the part of the resource hash that we are no longer using. Our current solution is working great in the quotes page, but there is a bit of a problem on the books page. And so it says it can't read property perpetrator of undefined. So what's happening is, for some reason, the relationships on the resource hash is undefined, and it's trying to call perpetrator on that. And what's happening is here, in the included array, these quotes, it's calling extractRelationships on them, but there's no relationships here, and so it's null. So what we'll do is we'll wrap it in an if statement. So if the resource hash has a relationships hash, then we'll do this. And this makes both of our pages work. So in extractRelationships, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Basically, anything on this resource hash is yours to play around with. But for the common case of just renaming something, like we have here, we can do the same thing as we did with our extractAttributes rename, and just put it on the adders hash. And so here, renaming book to perpetrator takes care of everything in here. For our next challenge, we'll see that someone has changed the ID. It, in JSON API, is supposed to be just the number, but here it's book_number. And so how can we fix this? Well, as you could probably guess, we're going to use extractRelationship. And so this relationship hash, let's go ahead and pause it here and see what we have. So this is on relationship hash.data.id. And notice in extractRelationship, we're getting the relationship hash for one relationship. And the resource hash up here is for all the relationships on this specific model. So we reload without the debugger, and we see that without a fix, it is messing up. It's giving us an internal server error. But the fix here, fortunately, is relatively easy. So we have the relationship hash, and then the data, and the ID, and what we're going to assign to that ID is what was previously in the ID, but with a couple changes, mainly that we're replacing book_ with an empty string. It's like what we did up here when we were extracting the ID. So we'll see that everything's working again. So this has been our look at the extractRelationship and extractRelationships methods in the EmberData serializer. It's a bit longer than our typical screencast, but that's because it was a difficult subject, and I hope you understand it a little bit better now. I'll see you next time.